But what's impressed you more? Is it more impressive to you, Bob, what Luka and Kyrie are doing, or disappointing in what we're seeing from Minnesota?
I'm going to be positive. The guy on the far right is going to probably take a negative shot at this thing. So I'm going to be positive here. I think Luka and Kyrie, the game of basketball, we all sit up here, we all love basketball, people watching. It's a team game. And if you stopped all these games, even including the Celtics-Pacers series, about 3 minutes to go, Pacers are up 2-1, and Minnesota's up 2-1. But basketball, in the last 2-3 minutes, it becomes a stars game. If we're playing pickup basketball, Wilbon, and it's 8-all, and we're coming down the floor, my best player better be better than your best player, because that's who's going to win the game for the most part. And so you're seeing in this series, Malika, the two guys on the Mavericks taking over the game. When you watch the possession, just watch the possessions, forget about the shots. Dallas knows what they're doing with Luka or Kyrie. They have a great sense of the shots they want to get. Conversely, you look at Minnesota, who is a young team, and it's the first time being there. And I know he's tuned out down here, but I am making a lot of sense to the guys that were willing to listen. He tuned me out when I criticized him. So listen, Minnesota's coming down, and you don't really know what you're going to get. And the problem is not that I know. They don't know what they're going to get. I think Anthony Edwards will figure that out at some point. But right now, and Chris can tell you, we were just talking about it off the air, at the end of the game, you have to know what you're getting to. And by the way, not what, who is getting the ball. And I think that's what Minnesota's been lacking.
I'm not one of these many players in the league that get upset just because you disagree with me. I love you. I give you a hug every time I see you. It don't faze me, okay? But you're right. I do disagree with you. You call it negativity all you want to. I'm talking basketball here, okay? Kyrie and Luka are sensational. Okay. And by the way, both of them are shooting over 40% from three-point range. Kyrie at 43, Luka at 40, okay? You look at Anthony Edwards, 33% shoot from three-point range, leading the team with 22 points, only shoot 38% from the field. The real story is Karl Anthony Towns. Where's your Robin? He's averaging 15 points. He's the self-proclaimed best shooting big man in the history of the game. CP3, he is shooting 13.6% from three-point range. That's not the crime. You know what the crime is, Bob? The attempts. Like he keeps shooting now.
Late in the game.
He's shooting 3 of 22. Well, hold on. These are three-point shots. Okay. Come on now.
You don't just stop shooting because you got to continue to shoot the ball.
You don't have to continue to do threes.
He can go. Take his big butt down there.
Hold on. I got to get on TV. Are you saying that with a straight face? Somebody is shooting. He's 6'11". You know he got a mismatch. You telling me CP3, the point guard? That's who I'm asking this question to. A guy is shooting and missing that many threes, and you going to tell him to keep shooting those threes?
But at the same time, if he's open, he has to continue shooting them. Now, if they close out, he can drive it. But at the end of the day, if you're a shooter, are you ever going to tell a guy who can shoot the ball not to shoot open shots?
Okay.
You're not going to do that.
Are you telling me that that's all he ain't had no shots that he could score from down low? He had no opportunity to go to the basket. He had no opportunity to get himself down the post.
You know what? He can score in many different ways, which is why he's one of the best big men in our league. But the thing that I think about is who in that locker room is talking to him, right? Which one of his teammates is encouraging him to uplift him, to make sure that he continues to be aggressive?
That's a nice question. What would you say to him? What would you say to him?
Chris, can you just tell us the last 2 minutes of the game? What is going on? You are this guy. You've been. What is happening?
Man, the last 2 minutes of the game, it's just a little bit different, right? You should have a package of plays that you go to depending on who the guys that got it going, you know? And then at the end of the day, you have to have guys who are willing to take shots. And I think that's what I see with Dallas. Right, Dallas knows Luka and Kyrie is going to have the ball, and they don't always orchestrate for themselves, right? So when they break down the defense, if they help, P.J. Washington knocks it down. They hit guys for lives, but they just have so much confidence, and you can see the way they play.
But, Chris, Mr. Wilbon, Stephen A's question is a valid one, because after being benched the final 9 minutes of a game, I imagine you come into the next game, and I don't know, but I imagine that weighs on you a little bit. And then that last three, the final three that you took of the game.
He should have been benched for the final 9 minutes of the previous game.
So what do you
His
say
confidence
to him
has got to be, we know Karl Anthony Towns is, sensitive in some ways. So you don't need to have that happen. This goes back to a lot of things that Minnesota's done badly in the last 5 to 7 minutes. Let's stretch it out of these games, or the lead in a couple of games. I don't like the judgment that we're talking about, and Karl Anthony Towns has been involved in that. He shouldn't have been on the bench for 9 minutes. So he comes into the next game questioning himself, or if not questioning himself, Chris, certainly not feeling as good about himself and his game as he has felt in these playoffs. when he was much better in the earlier rounds.
Well, he's been hanging out, Chris Paul has been hanging out with Bob Myers.
What do you...
Because I asked the question. I'm still waiting for the answer to that question.
What was the question?
What would you have said to Karl Anthony Towns in that locker room, considering what we have seen? What would you say to him?
What, after that game?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have talked to him, man. Not one person loses you the game, first and foremost.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you'll talk about it as a team as far as the defense.
Especially a
my college coach used to say this all the time, the late Skip Process. He used to say it's a team game played by individuals, right? Even though we all have to do our part, guys have to uplift the other guys. And that's why they always say, who are the stars uplifting? Who in that locker room is uplifting those guys, which I'm sure Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards is a very vocal guy, and I'm interested to see what that looks like in Game 4.
It's like we uplift you.
I appreciate it, buddy. But let me tell you something right now. I'm not saying you don't do that, but there comes a time when certain people are more important than others. Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the most important players. I need him.
Well, we'll see if Finch uses you like Mike Malone did.
Oh, Lord.
Right. See if that gets him going.
Clip time.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the